People were starting to question her leadership. If she could make such a colossal mistake over a simple car, what else had she been wrong about? Then, as if on cue, an unexpected revelation surfaced. A woman named Linda, one of the quieter HOA board members, took it upon herself to do some digging. She started asking questions about the HOA's finances, specifically, the fines Karen had been imposing for years. And what she found was more damning than anyone had anticipated. Karen, it turned out, had been pocketing money from bogus violation fees. On paper, she had labeled them as community beautification efforts, but in reality, those funds had gone straight into Karen's personal projects, like the pristine white picket fence around her house, the high-end security cameras aimed suspiciously toward Jake's property, and a landscaping project that conveniently only improved her own front yard. When this information leaked, the neighborhood turned against her almost overnight. People who had previously tolerated her now wanted answers. At the next HOA meeting, things reached a breaking point. The community center was packed. Jake arrived late and had to stand at the back, watching as Karen took her usual seat at the head of the table, clipboard in hand, trying desperately to maintain her composure. The moment the meeting started, Linda stood up and laid out the financial discrepancies for everyone to see. There were audible gasps. Karen, visibly rattled, tried to talk her way out of it. Those were necessary expenses. I was investing in the neighborhood's future. But it was too late. The trust was gone. By the end of the night, the HOA board had voted to suspend Karen's presidency, pending an investigation. It was the closest thing to a public execution that an HOA meeting could provide. Karen's fall from grace might have ended there, but fate had one more twist in store for her. 2 weeks later, Jake received an official letter. Karen was suing him, not for anything reasonable of course, but for intentional emotional distress and public humiliation. "She's suing you?" Tom said in disbelief when Jake told him. "For her own stupidity?" "Yep." Tom shook his head. "I hope to God this goes to trial. I need to see this disaster play out." And to everyone's delight, it did. Courtroom day arrived, and the scene was even more absurd than Jake had imagined. Karen, dressed like she was about to deliver a TED Talk, took the stand and delivered a speech that was quite possibly the most unhinged thing Jake had ever heard. "This man," she said, pointing dramatically at Jake, "has spent months psychologically tormenting me. He tricked me into believing his car was a civilian vehicle, only to later reveal that it was some kind of covert government weapon. How was I to know? No normal person owns a car like that. And now, thanks to his deception, I have lost my respected position in this community." The judge, a woman who looked like she had absolutely no patience for nonsense, raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, are you suggesting that this was an elaborate scheme?" "Yes," Karen exclaimed, as if the answer were obvious. "I was set up. He orchestrated this entire thing to discredit me." Jake, sitting next to his lawyer, struggled not to laugh. The lawyer, barely containing his own amusement, stood up. "Your Honor, the plaintiff ordered a tow truck to remove my client's legally parked car from his own driveway, a vehicle which I might add, she had no ownership claim over." Karen huffed. "It was ugly." The judge pinched the bridge of her nose. "That's not a legal argument." Then came the best part. The CIA agents who had intervened earlier had been subpoenaed as witnesses. When they took the stand, the tension in the room skyrocketed. "Can you confirm," Karen's lawyer asked one of the agents, "that the defendant's vehicle was, in fact, a classified government vehicle?" The agent stared at him over his sunglasses. "We cannot comment on the nature of the vehicle." Karen, mistaking this for a win, smirked. "See, they won't even admit it. That proves something suspicious was happening." The agent sighed. "However, we can confirm that the plaintiff attempted to interfere with government property, which, as previously stated, is a federal offense." Karen's smirk vanished. The case was dismissed so fast that Jake barely had time to enjoy it. But the damage to Karen's reputation was permanent. Not only had she lost the lawsuit, but she had made an absolute fool of herself in the process. With her HOA presidency revoked and her credibility destroyed, Karen became the neighborhood's outcast. Gone was the clipboard-wielding tyrant who issued fines for the crime of unapproved holiday decorations.